Hallo, guten Abend, good evening. Welcome, welcome. Willkommen zu Plüschkeks Lesestunde and welcome to Plush Cookies Reading Hour. That's a very butcher translation, but it is true. So hello everybody. Today the stream is a little bit different than usual. We will be bilingual today, meaning this is both English and German. So in case you're not feeling comfortable writing in chat in English when you're a German speaker, no problem. You can still write in German. I will read out your text messages. I will translate if necessary. And if you want to have a conversation with our lovely author, Andi Ewington, then feel free to approach him. I also see a huge shout out to Erica. Erica, if you're lurking, feel shouted out. She helped edit the book. And we all know everybody that has ever written anything or edited anything. That is a big help. Hello. Hello Elisidra, hello another viewer, hello Benedikt, hello Letty, Antelucent, Godo, Schakal und Hunter Hamburg. Schön, dass ihr da seid. Let's go over to our new scene. There. 'Tis the season, folks. 'Tis the season. Now nobody can stop me. Sharing Christmas spirit. Because I've been told I'm not allowed to share Christmas spirit until after Thanksgiving. So now that Thanksgiving is officially past, it's time to look forward to the next holiday, which is Christmas. Oh my! Thank you, 41 Paladin. Thank you, Andi Ewington. And thank you, Salsam Babe, for the follow. I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Are we really at 79 already? You guys are crazy. I totally lost track of what I was saying just now. I think I talked about Christmas. I have been personally listening to Christmas Swing at work for like 2 weeks now, and it is a blast. And don't forget, it's the 26th already. So in less than a week, we can open our first door of the Advent calendar. Any of you having an Advent calendar this year? I have one. I didn't want to get one because I'm an adult now and I don't need one necessarily. But, you know, the little joys in life, opening a little present, a little bit of chocolate for the start in the day, the sugar rush in the morning. That's pretty nice. But like, oh my goodness, like the prices of advent calendars are crazy. Like either you spend like €1 for like crappy chocolate, or you spend like 25 for something you don't even want. You always need an advent calendar. I know, but like, I don't want to spend $25 for what did I see? A Tool advent calendar. Agreed. There are crazy advent calendars out there. I just want one with good chocolate. I don't need anything else. I just need chocolate. do it. I would somehow love to have one, but what she says, I can't really find anything. Ja, Schakal, I noticed that too. Das ist mir auch aufgefallen, dass die Adventkalender dieses Jahr so teuer sind, wenn man nicht gerade richtig schlechte Schokolade will, sondern einfach was Ordentliches, dann muss man gleich irgendwie 15 € aufwärts bezahlen. Das ist total schade. It's really, really a pity. We're getting the kids a Funko Pop calendar to share. They can take turns opening it. Ein Funko Pop Adventkalender. Das hört sich cool an. That sounds really cool. It's a good idea to make them share because, like, especially if you have several kids, like 2 in your case, then buying an advent calendar that is like not just chocolate but like with toys can be so expensive. Ich empfinde das Problem aber schon länger. Ja, leider. Last year I had cocktail chocolate advent calendar that was rather pricey, so I also shared it. I thought it was good, but like I can't open it in the morning, like at 4 in the morning. Opening a cocktail chocolate praline and eating it is not a good idea. Aber die Cocktailpralinen waren sehr, sehr gut. Ich habe ihn nur dieses Jahr nicht gefunden. Was nowhere to be seen this year, sadly. I did buy one. Calm down. I did buy one. It's like a very adult chocolate calendar. You don't want to have a calendar with Santa Claus on it. Yeah, I think those are pretty cheesy. I like some wintry motif way better. It's really funny how I feel like pressured to get an advent calendar. Luckily, I already got one, but like, that's very amusing. Yeah, I get it. If you don't want Santa Claus on the front of it, it can be really hard to actually, like, it limits the quantity a lot. I think mine has like some wintry landscape. So, is anybody in chat that had snow this weekend? Anybody seen the white stuff coming from the sky? I haven't. It has just been raining here. What is snow? Well, you know, that's like a weird white flaky stuff. Just rain, yeah. I've seen the pictures from New York, and I'm like, well, maybe rain's not that bad. I live in Texas, not happening. Yeah. Texan people don't know what snow actually is. English weather, right. I like the After 8 Big Ben calendar. Yeah, I was just thinking that, Shakal. I don't like After 8 either. I'm not that grown up yet. I think that comes with age. In my mind, After 8 is always like an old people snack candy chocolate thing. It's just so minty. Don't like mint. Oh, das ist hart. Gar keine Minze mögen. Das finde ich schon. Aber gut, Minze ist ja zumindest hierzulande in den Süßigkeiten nicht so vertreten. There are not too many mint candies, so Should be fine if you don't like mint. Nothing at all. Aww. Oh, did you guys know last Thursday something really spooky happened to me? So for everybody that doesn't know, I'm getting up at 4 a.m. usually, and because I have to catch a train at 6. So when I'm at the train station, it's like super dark, most of the time foggy, and kind of a little creepy because nobody's there. So there's this pathway that is encased in glass that goes over the tracks, where you can reach the train you want to take. And I walk there and I look down at the tracks and there's literally no train. None. Like usually there is one on every track, like the first train in the morning waiting. There was no train to be seen, and I was panicking a little because a while ago there had been construction and there were no trains going for a week. So I was like, oh gosh, did I miss something? Why is there no train happening? And actually they canceled every train but mine. This morning they were like, cancelled. And my train was the only one going. For a change, usually it's the one that gets cancelled. But that was kind of weird. People were really irritated. I was watching them. And everybody had the same reaction as I had. Yeah, I was really lucky. Because, like, I knew the day before I had overheard a conversation on my train with the person in the train that checks the tickets. And so there was this week where no train was going because of construction on the track. And they wanted to change the parts of the track. I don't know the English word for that, but the Weichen. Die haben die Weichen ausgetauscht. So they cut off the whole track, and that's like I'm on a train for about 2 hours to my workplace, so that was kind of devastating. And they made us go by bus, so I asked if I could work from home the whole week, and I could. So I found out that they actually didn't do anything this week. They did not do one single thing on that track while it was closed, because it turned out that the material didn't show up. The tracks just didn't show up. And they found out like a day before, like on Sunday or like on the weekend, and I think they started on a Saturday, and on Friday they found out that the tracks couldn't get delivered on time. And so they had already chartered this bus line to go for the whole week. And they couldn't step back from the contract anymore. And they had already paid the bus company, and the bus company had already included this in their schedule and stuff, and they couldn't undo it. So they were like, well, it's a waste of money to have the bus line running and then also have the train running, because then people will just take the train and the bus is just paid for nothing. So they still canceled all trains and made people go by bus and didn't tell anybody. They just kept it a secret until that one guy on the train told that to some people that were asking. And that's so crazy. I mean, I understand that they don't want to have like that waste of money, but like they were just not saying anything. They were hoping that nobody would find out. that's Deutsche Bahn. So yeah, what do you say, Antilucent? I will have to work from home another week. Dang. Such a shame. Luckily, my boss is very, very helpful in this. She didn't make me take off because she said it's not your fault that the train's not going. I do also understand, especially because it's also cost money. It costs money to let the trains drive. Exactly. And yeah, nobody would take the bus if you can take the train, because the bus takes like an hour longer. At least this week, no embarrassing drool story. So at least I don't have to be embarrassed before Andi. That's good. Even though I'm sure the English-speaking portion of the chat is eager to know the drool story, but never. You don't know that. I was pretty embarrassed last week. Okay, guys. How about we dive right into the hero interviews? I think it's about time. We talked long enough. Keep getting a connection issue. Probably my internet, but I'll keep coming back. You can make it, Andi. So, the hero interviews. It's a still unpublished book by Andi Ewington. As you can see, he's here in chat. It will be published at the 1st of December. So if any of you still are on the lookout for a Christmas present, you should definitely dive into that. Also, not only for yourself, but also for your loved ones. If you think they could like it, you can buy it as an ebook. I will share the link after we're done reading. I will share a few links. Let's talk about the book. What is the hero interviews? So as the title suggests, it is a series of interviews with heroes. Surprise. It is set in a fantastical Dungeons and Dragon pen and paper tabletop game setting, and it plays a lot with the typical cliches of classes, and I'm pretty sure the people in chat that have played some tabletop game in their career, in their life, will feel called out when reading this book, because it tackles a lot of things that many dungeon masters and mistresses are confronted with on the daily. And I was very amused. I could see a lot of my past D&D groups in this book. It is very entertaining. It is also very, very, very funny, as it... I see you, Shaka. as it is masterfully written. And just imagine if the Discworld books and the Hitchhiker's Guide, so in German that would be die Scheibenweltromane von Terry Pratchett und die Reihe Per Anhalter durch die Galaxis. If those had a love child, it would be Andy Ewington's book. And that's as it's intended. Brilliantly edited too. Oh yes. It is absolutely masterfully edited by Erica. She's so good at what she's doing. So Andy told me that, so of course I was very curious before reading this, and I asked Andy some questions about the book, and I wanted to know if the characters interviewed in this book were maybe past pen and paper characters he had in mind, because I don't know if you do that, but I come up with a lot of pen and paper characters that I never play, and I come up with whole backstories for them and everything. So of course I wanted to know if the people interviewed in the hero interviews are pen and paper characters of his, but he told me they were all original characters, and there were some cameos of characters that he had drafted for other stories that never got published and that he could then insert here so that they could shine. But he just wrote an interview and then thought, who do I want to interview next? What would be cool and exciting? And then he went with the flow and came up with some very, very good ideas. Also, he was inspired by his original graphic novel, 45. If you're interested in graphic novels, check it out. And that was transcript style, a transcript interview style novel, but not with pen and paper heroes, but with superheroes. And he also likes writing fantasy, so that was kind of like the inspiration for this book. So what exactly is the hero interviews about? It's not just a series of interviews. It has an overspanning arc, a story that connects all of them in a way. And overall, the book is about Elburn Barr. He's a Loremaster. So what does a Loremaster do? A Loremaster gathers stories and history and writes it down. Master of the lore. The word makes a lot of sense. So Elburn Barr comes from a family of heroes. His parents were heroes, and probably his grandparents and everybody before him. But he's not the hero type. He's not the guy that takes a sword and kills a dragon. Much unlike to his brother. His brother is the cliche hero. He wants to be a hero. So he's like the guy that follows the family tradition, while Elburn Barr is more interested in asking heroes why they became heroes, and maybe also why they stopped being heroes, and what's up with them, and everything about heroes. So he sets out to interview certain people all over the lands, and also to keep an eye out for his brother that has been gone for quite a while. So he, of course, also wants to know what's up with him. And now is the question, will he ever find out what happened to his brother? Or will he die a horrible death in the stomach of a dragon or on the floor of the sea? Well, we are about to find out at least a little bit. So, as always, the typical rules: I will not read chat while reading, and I will also not read follows. I will, though, scroll through what you have written in the breaks or after we're finished, and so don't feel ignored. Feel free to talk and chat, or just lean back and listen. Also, note, the Hero Interviews is technically 2 books. One book is the interviews that Elburn Barr wrote down. And the second book is the amount of footnotes and scribbles he has written down for his own stories and his own interviews. So naturally, this book also has a heaping ton of footnotes. So if there is a small pause every now and then, it means I have trouble clicking the right footnote with my finger on my Surface tablet. So please forgive me if there are small pauses. I'm also trying to make it clear when I'm reading a footnote and when not. I'm not certain I will master this, but just be sure that this is a story with many, many funny comments. I will now drink a little bit of water and turn down the music, and then we can start. There. Andi Ewington, The Hero Interviews. Chapter 1. To be a hero or not to be a hero? That is the quest. I was never destined to be a hero. The quill and parchment are my weapons, my sword and shield. I've always been interested in the art of adventuring, but partaking, not so much. I wouldn't follow some fool's errand, even if the realm's survival depended on it. Instead, I prefer to capture the experiences of those who have braved and survived, transcribing their adventures word for word, as if one were right beside them, stepping into the unknown, weapons drawn, spells at the ready. My name is Elburn Barr. I'm a Loremaster, a wordsmith, as my father calls it, although I suspect mine is not a profession. I was lucky enough to choose my own profession. Those less fortunate rely on a career smith, a grumpy gnome who usually turns up with an even grumpier looking magical sorting cap, to pick a profession for them. As much as I'm in awe of sentient, fate deciding apparel. I don't want to entrust my future to a head covering in a foul mood and possibly foul flatulence. A profession that makes him overly proud. I have a sneaking suspicion my father wanted me to be a wizard. My family has always had a keen interest in adventuring. Both my mother and father were reputable adventurers of note in that time. I can only imagine the deep rooted disappointment they felt when I declared I wouldn't keep the hero tradition going and follow in the footsteps. However, for every black sheep, there is always a prize ram ready to step up when needed. And thankfully, that's where my older brother came to my rescue. Alden is the consummate adventurer, bold, good looking, charismatic, and of course, he knows how to wield a sword, axe, or anything that inflicts pain. This literally meant anything my brother had in his hands at the time could be considered a deadly weapon, which made our youthful pillow fight somewhat of a one sided and traumatic affair. While I spent most evenings practicing calligraphy or had my head buried in another book, Alden would stay up late, learning a new finisher move that often required me to stand in for demonstration purposes only, mastering the art of picking a trapped lock, which bizarrely included an initial step of letting a nearby gullible cleric attempt to pick the lock first, or honing his hunt and ambush skills. Being the youngest, it will come as no surprise that I often ended up as his unwitting quarry. Though we shared a passion for adventure, our pursuits of that passion could not have been further removed. But as they say, time and tide wait for no one. Eldon has been gone for nearly 10 summers, following whatever epic adventure lands at his feet, no doubt searching for one quest orb or another. I imagined I would remain at home till he returned, lest my parents are deprived of both sons. But I can't wait no longer. The time has come for me to try and make my mark, not following fame and fortune, but tracing the footsteps of those like my elder brother, who strive so hard for both. I've chosen to write a journal of my travels as I seek out those who could not resist the call to arms, the thrill of the quest, the perils, and the potential rewards that a life of adventure entails. And not just them, but also those they meet along the way. From the humblest monks are usually humble, right? To the most lauded baron of the realm, my quill will take me far and wide, from arboreal forests to frozen peaks, as I seek to document tales of success, glory, failure, and possibly even death. Hopefully, not my own death, I wouldn't be documenting this right now if I had perished. Unless I had somehow been resurrected by an evil necromancer and forced to write this footnote for them. Let's hope not. Perhaps along the way I'll come to understand this hero obsession my family has, or at the very least shed some light on why my parents risked everything in the name of adventure. And hopefully find out where my errant brother is along the way. Chapter 2. Dorn the Barbarian. Whisper the word barbarian, and I'd wager you would instantly picture a rage-filled, muscle-bound warrior, clad only in a fur loincloth, fueled by a love of spleen removal whilst drinking the nearest tavern dry of every alcoholic beverage sold. You can imagine my disappointment as I sit opposite a muscle-shy, pasty-looking barbarian. Dorn is the latest hero to step out of the Heroes Guild, a polite man who seems eager to make a name for himself within the adventuring world. We've agreed to meet at Dorn's local tavern, the Spit and Spear, a favorite watering hole for heroes situated in the lively city of Trond, a settlement plagued by wannabe adventurers hoping to be spotted by one of the Heroes Guild's numerous scouts. The Spit and Spear is mercifully quiet, although I suspect the evening is still too young to attract the hardened drinker questing for the only elixir that matters in life. The tavern's only other patrons of note are a nearby dwarven fighter working his way through a flagon orgy and a paladin who is regaling the barmaid with overinflated tales of adventure. The young lady is so enraptured by the holy warrior's words she has failed to notice both the barbarian and I have been without a drink for a considerable amount of time. Thanks for meeting me. My pleasure. It's not every day I get interviewed by a bona fide Loremaster. I suppose it's something I'm going to have to get accustomed to. Accustomed to? Dorn grins proudly as he turns the collar of his jerkin over. I catch sight of a flash of silver. A badge sits snugly underneath. I can make out a sword hilt etched into the design bisecting a large H and G. I'm now officially a hero. Finally, I can follow in the footsteps of the greats like Aaron Darkblade and Gilva Flamebeard. Aaron Darkblade, renowned for being the meanest adventurer in the entire realm, and I don't mean in the never buys a round of drinks kind of way. Although I suspect he's never bought a round of drinks in his life either. No, Aaron is an eye-patched wearing hero who has completed more quests and dispatched more monsters, and undoubtedly a few paladins, than any adventurer in living memory. Gilva Flamebeard is a legendary dwarven cleric who has stepped back from the adventuring life to become a hermit. As her name suggests, she sports a fiery red beard, which, by all accounts, contrasts sharply with an unusually calm demeanor for a dwarf. Whether her given dwarven clan name really is Flamebeard or not has been debated and argued in every tavern at some point or another. I guess congratulations are in order. Thanks! To be honest, I'm still in shock. I have to punch myself to make sure I'm not dreaming. Don't you mean pinch? Rogues pinch? Barbarians punch? This is not strictly true. Some rogues have been known to punch, although I'm sure they'd prefer not to let their opponent know the blow was coming, while some barbarians have a bad reputation of unwanted pinching, usually of barmaids' behinds. Got it. As if to emphasize the point, the barbarian hits himself fully in the face. He shakes his head and looks around as if he's just woken up. Nope, it's still real. You okay? Nothing a drink won't sort out. The barbarian waves, trying to catch the eye of the barmaid stood behind the bar without success. Forgive me for saying, but you don't look how I'd imagine a barbarian would look. Really? What were you expecting? Perhaps you'd prefer it if I wore a fur loincloth? My cheeks flush red in embarrassment. Sorry to dispel that particular myth. The truth is, adventuring can get awfully cold. While I'm sure it has its place, a fur loincloth is impractical on so many levels. I guess on a frozen adventure, the loins would be nice and warm, while the rest of the barbarian's extremities would certainly be frozen cold. Still, a warm groin is something not to be sniffed at. Quite literally. If you want to survive on a quest, you need to be wearing layers. Lots of layers. And I don't mean armor either. Sorry, I just expected a bit more flesh on show. Just to be clear, and as much as this may appear to the contrary, I wasn't trying to encourage the barbarian into stripping for me. The barbarian gives me the strangest of looks. Are you okay? Fighting in only a tight-fitting loincloth is a bit weird, isn't it? I thought that's the whole point of being a barbarian. Attacking your enemies half naked while lost in a furious battle rage. A rage possibly brought on by the recent discovery that someone had just stolen all the barbarian's clothes. You've been hanging around with the wrong type of people if you think that's how barbarians dress these days. I'm only going by the legendary warriors from days of yore. I point to the wall of hero paintings on the far side of the bar, several of which are of muscle mountains wearing only the tiniest fur loincloth. I hope they're wearing loincloths. From where I'm sitting, it could also be overgrown loin hair. Those old barbarians are so out of touch compared to the modern barbarian of today. Nobody wears fur loincloths anymore. Anyway, I prefer to leave my family jewels to the imagination, if it's all the same to you. He tries to catch the barmaid's eye, but misses once again. The barbarian thumps the table in frustration. Balls! I feel the need to quickly change the subject away from the angry warrior's nether regions. Did you always want to be a barbarian? The angry warrior laughs at the absurdity of my question. Me? No, never in my wildest dreams. I actually thought I was going to become a wizard. A wizard? I'm glad my father isn't around to hear this. He'd never let me live it down. I know it's odd, but I was convinced to switch my focus to the barbarian class. Also jokingly referred to, often out of earshot, as the angry warrior class by non barbarians. My focus to the barbarian class rather than follow a wizardry one. Besides, wizards are generally frowned upon at the Heroes Guild. Frowned upon? I thought the Heroes Guild would welcome wizards with open arms. As long as they have been patted down for any concealed spells or cantrips first. Seems there's a long running rivalry between the Heroes Guild and the Wizards Guild. In truth, they hate each other. But recently they've begrudgingly agreed on an uneasy peace. How did the food come about? I don't think the Wizards Guild liked it when the Heroes Guild started recruiting wizards to their cause. It resulted in the Battle of the Blind Bowman. I've never heard of that battle. That's because it happened one fateful afternoon in the middle of a tavern. The Blind Bowman, surprisingly. Named after a legendary blind archer who could hit any goblin with unerring accuracy, a remarkable feat rendering useless, if not actual goblins were in the area for the blind archer to shoot in the first place. They had a battle in a tavern? I think I may have oversold the battle part of the story. It was more of an untidy brawl with a lot of pushing, shoving, and accusatory pointing. Who won? Nobody. When the dust settled, the blind bowman was no more. The whole place had either been burnt down by a spell. I would bet my family's name, my family's estate, it was the wizard's favorite go to spell, Fireball. Or smashed into tiny pieces by the fist. The warring guilds soon realized their mistake when they couldn't order another round of drinks. And the next nearest tavern was a 3-day hike away across the foul smelling waters of the malodorous marshes. And immediately held emergency talks in the ashes of the former privy. I would love to have been a fly on the wall that day. Not that there were any flies left. or walls.
The Heroes Guild agreed they wouldn't add any more wizards to the numbers. In exchange, the Wizards Guild agreed to help them recruit more non wizard heroes to their cause.
So, wizards only come from the Wizards Guild?
Officially, yes.
Unofficially?
I've seen a few robe wearing, book reading types walking around the Heroes Guild, but they could be Loremasters, I suppose.
I seriously doubt any of my profession would be interested in joining the Heroes Guild. The closest a Loremaster would ever want to get to danger is drinking a hot cup of tea too quickly and burning the roof of their mouth. How does a Loremaster join the Heroes Guild?
If you get us a couple more ales, I'll put a good word in for you.
If we could actually get any service?
The barmaid still hasn't managed to drag herself away from the Paladins' vicinity. If I were the landlord, I'd be asking some serious questions about her work ethic.
I laugh at the boldness of the barbarian. Fair enough. So, the Heroes Guild made you a barbarian instead? I mean, no offense by this, but you don't look like the angry warrior type. Spoken like a true non barbarian. Why do you think they wanted you to become a barbarian? The barbarian narrows his eyes at me.
Isn't it obvious?
Not really.
They wanted me to revamp the barbarian's stereotypical image, usher in a new age of warriors who don't go around smashing up taverns just because they're a bit angry about poor bar service. They want me to be the face of tomorrow's barbarian. A thoughtful, calm barbarian who has a bit of a sensitive side too.
The barbarian flexes an arm muscle. I can't quite see it, but I don't want to ruin Dorn's moment. Impressive. Loremaster tip number 1. Always tell a barbarian what they want to hear. Even if your whole being is screaming at you to do otherwise.
Yep, I'm the first in a new wave of approachable barbarians. Less rage, more brains.
The thinking man's warrior. Although I suspect every paladin in existence will feel as if they have something to say about this. The young hero slams the table with his hand before pointing at me excitedly.
The barbarian with a heart of gold.
Catchy. So, have you been on any adventures yet?
Only the training dungeons. They're pretty tough and can hurt if you're not careful. I mean, really hurt. I passed with flying colors, of course. Even resisted sitting on a trapped throne, too. Unlike the ranger I was with.
What happened to the ranger?
He insisted on stopping to take the weight off his feet and got his backside frozen solid as a consequence.
That's terrible.
I know. It took me ages to pull him free from the throne. When I finally did, he had a huge hole ripped in his breeches.
That must have been a bit awkward.
Yeah. I had to keep him behind me for the remainder of the adventure. There are some things not even a barbarian should have to bear witness to. The barbarian looks again for the barmaid, but she's still busy, lost in her paladin filled daze to notice him. I spy Dorn clenching and unclenching his fists as he slowly boils with anger. How did you first get involved with the Heroes Guild? I was spotted. Spotted? Yes. You know, seen. In this place, actually, which is ironic if you think about it. Why is that? The barbarian grinds his teeth and throws imaginary daggers in the paladin's direction. Because I can't seem to be seen right now, can I? Can I get some service, please? The barbarian shouts at the top of his lungs, but he's still ignored by the barmaid currently draped over the holy warrior. To be fair, the paladin seems to be happily encouraging the barmaid to do this. Who spotted you? A representative of the Heroes Guild, a scout. And where were you sat? I look around the bar and try to picture a nervous but excitable Dorn sitting around, waiting to be spotted by the Heroes Guild scout. Here? Here? I point to the table we're currently sitting at. Well, not exactly here. More like over there. The barbarian motions to a table next to us, occupied by a dwarven fighter polishing off his 10th flagon of ale, judging by the 9 empty flagons sitting in front of him. I have no idea how this dwarf has managed to get served not once, but 10 times. It is a miraculous feat that should be compared to dragon slaying with only one arm. The dwarf, that is, not the dragon. Otherwise, that would be somewhat less impressive as a feat. I find myself staring at the inebriated dwarf as he spills more beer on the table than into his mouth. That's not the scout, just in case you were wondering. I nod and turn my attention back to the barbarian. How did you find out about this place? I heard about the spit and spear from a friend. He told me the Heroes Guild scouts frequented it, and if I wanted to be spotted, then this is where I needed to be. What happens if you're lucky enough to be spotted? If a scout thinks you have potential to join the Heroes Guild, they employ a test. Test? What sort of test? Written? Which would be an overly cruel thing to do to any would-be barbarian. No. Practical. Sometimes it's a stolen coin purse, other times it's a spontaneous bar fight. Whatever it is always designed to test a specific attribute. What attribute did they test of yours? Why, my strength, of course. Of course. Anyway, It so happened that I had struck up a conversation with the very scout who had taken a keen interest in me.
What are the odds? So, what did you two talk about?
Oh, this and that. He was especially interested in my family's estate on the far side of the evergreen forest. That seemed to give him the confidence that I had the right stuff to join the guild. He said he saw enough potential in me to be one of the realm's greatest heroes.
What did you say to that?
It was bardic music to my ears.
This depends greatly on the bard doing the music in the first place.
Everything I wanted was being promised to me. But at the same time, I had to make an impromptu call to the privy, so I excused myself for a moment to tend to my pressing need. When I returned, I found this brute of a half orc sat at my table drinking my ale.
Something that is unlikely to happen again anytime soon, given we are still without a drink. Who was he? What did you do?
A stranger. It seemed he wanted a free drink. Honestly, it's a bit embarrassing to mention this, but
go on.
I barely hit him. I guess I didn't realize I possessed such strength.
You hit him?
I knocked him straight out of my seat and across the tavern, which immediately started a mass brawl with some gnomes sitting at the corner table. Once I had dealt with the gnomes.
As much as this sounds unimpressive, fighting something that stands at waist height is extremely dangerous for tall combatants and their extremities, frozen or not.
The impressed scout clapped me on the back and signed me up, there and then.
And that was when you became a barbarian?
He said I was natural, that I had untapped raw power in my fists.
Untapped raw power. And you believed him.
Why wouldn't I? I had just seen what I could do with my own eyes. But I still held a strong desire to be a wizard.
I guess he explained the problem with that.
Indeed, he did. We had a good chat about it, and I agreed to give up my dream of wielding magic in favor of wielding an oversized sword.
The weapon of choice for any self-respecting barbarian, closely followed by an oversized axe, oversized spear, and finally, an oversized fist.
Anyway, barbarians have better perks in the long run.
For starters, barbarians get served first in any tavern keen to avoid spending a large amount of coin in an urgent repairs 24 hours later.
Sure, there's a clause in the contract, but the scout said that it was just a standard.
Wait a moment. A clause? What clause?
He promised me it was just legal mumbo jumbo. The scout called it a death in service clause. If you want to join the Heroes Guild, you have to sign the clause. No exception.
What does the clause do?
For me, nothing. But for the Heroes Guild, they end up owning my family's estate in the event of my death.
That sounds a tad unfair.
Apparently, it's standard. Standard stuff that every hero signs. But You needn't worry. I won't ever. It won't ever happen. Not to me. The scout explained there's a sizable risk in retrieving a hero's fallen body from a failed quest, not to mention all the funeral arrangements and possible lost equipment, some of which are magical and very expensive. The death in service clause covers all damages, repairs, and replacements. It's pretty thoughtful if you think about it. I see. What else did the scout say? He said he had never seen such a natural athlete. The complete hero, he called me. Said he wanted to send me on a Category 5 adventure after I had completed all my training dungeons. I'm not sure what this means, but the fact that there are 4 categories before it cannot be a good thing. What's a Category 5 adventure? Only a quest meant for the hardiest of adventurers. Certain death assured. See, I was right. Aren't you worried? You might, die? You're talking to the realm's next greatest barbarian. The realm's last greatest barbarian was Trux the Biter, who expired after a fight with a group of drunken gnomes and ended up, ironically, bitten in the groin and bleeding to death. Perhaps not quite the glorious way he had imagined bowing out. I can only assume Trux was pretty tall. I laugh in the face of death. High-pitched laughter breaks out from the barmaid sitting in the paladin's lap. Dorn suddenly kicks back from the table and stands with purpose and drive. Although the guild's next greatest barbarian is still thirsty. Time I finally go get that drink. Wait here. I'll be right back. I watch as Storm the Barbarian storms over to the Paladin and the barmaid to make his displeasure known. Not wanting to be caught up in the approaching battle of the spit and spear, I decide to leave this interview post haste. I did leave a polite note explaining my departure, blaming it on a sudden urge to drink elsewhere. Specifically, a place with good bar service and less chance of seeing spilt blood. We're taking a small break at this point. And after the break, just like 5 minutes maybe, we are diving headfirst into the second chapter we're allowed to read about Morgan the Wizard. Thank you, Andi. Okay, quick pause.
Hello. Welcome back. I hope everybody got their snacks. Hello, Alangenzillion. Hello, Commander Root. Hello, Digital Instinct. Hello, Einfach Uwe. Hallo, Holloway. Und hallo, Sophie Kai. Nice that you're all here. Today, we're all in English, but feel free to write in German and chat if that's what you prefer. We're reading the hero interviews by Andi Ewington, also here in chat. So if you have any questions or any remarks, feel free to tell him. But as always, stay polite and nice. Thank you, Holloway. It's the first time. It's the deflowering of this overlay and the deflowering of the avatar. I have been working on it for the past 3 weeks-ish. And in case you didn't know, there is a baby flamingo on my lap. Turned out really great. Oh, thank you! I'm so proud of it. What do you think? Should we, for the second chapter, should we turn off the lights and make it really cozy? Get into the cozy late night feel? I would have done it anyways, just so you know. Oh. Well, wait, there's a weird thing happening if I do that. Shoot, I didn't test that. Well, let me do a little bit of live troubleshooting. Hold tight, everybody. Don't worry, my hands will be back in a second. That's weird. Let's see if that fixed it. Yep, that did fix it, indeed. There. Let's have a very Christmas feel here. It worked! That fulfills my inner Christmas needs. Okay. Yeah, it is cozy. Okay, so let's turn off the music again and dive into the interview with Morgan the Wizard. Chapter 3. Morgan the Wizard. The weathered castle has undoubtedly seen better days. In its prime, it would have been a sight to behold, a thin spear of architecture thrusting skywards from the cliff face that overlooks the tempestuous waters of the dauntless sea far below. But both time and tide have ravaged the foundations. Brick and mortar have eroded away
to leave a solitary gnarled finger gesturing defiantly at the rest of the realm. The steps leading up to the castle's main door require the lightest of touch, lest I risk sending the entire structure crashing down into the sea. The platform I'm on creaks ominously underfoot, threatening to give way at a moment's notice. I'm here to meet a former hero and now permanently retired wizard who stopped adventuring at the height of his career. I'm curious to know why someone who basked in the light of fame would suddenly step back into the shadow of obscurity. The wooden platform continues to protest under my weight as I reach the castle entrance and hammer the door hard with the base of my fist. A metal lock slides free as the door opens by an inch or two, and a scrawny face appears in the gap.
Whatever you're selling, I don't want it.
Morgan, the Magnificent? I sent word of my arrival. Sending word involves visiting a local barker and paying them to shout very loudly to the next nearest barker within earshot. This communication is then shouted from barker to barker until the intended recipient finally hears the original message. The whole process can take over a month, and it's not uncommon to discover the innocuous word of an impending arrival has somehow morphed into an open declaration of war, or worse. The stern face stares at me in confusion as it struggles internally to recall our arrangement, before suddenly brightening.
Of course. Come in, come in. Though, do watch your step. Some of the floorboards in this place can be fatal.
I stare with increasing concern at the uneven floor. Are they trapped?
Trapped?
Yes, trapped to deter would-be thieves.
Oh, no, 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 no. Traps? No. The floor is rotten. I would hate our conversation to be interrupted so soon by your sudden disappearance and subsequent realization that you can't fly as you hurtle towards the rock below.
As would I. Although I'd hope the wizard would be good enough to cast a levitation spell if that did happen. The wizard notices the color draining from my face and pats my shoulder reassuringly as he smiles.
But that probably won't happen. I'll tell you what, let me lead the way. Walk where I walk, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
I nod with relief. Thanks.
Don't mention it, but if you fall, also don't mention it.
I'm now convinced I'm going to die here. I follow the wizard for what seems like an eternity as he carefully tiptoes and skips along an invisible pathway that only makes sense to him. Slowly, we negotiate our way towards a large oak door, which the spellcaster gingerly opens before lightly stepping through. We find ourselves in a surprisingly cozy room. There's a large bearskin rug with a slight annoyed to have ended up like this expression on its face. Covering much of the wooden floor. Given the size of the room, that was one big bear. And an orange glow from the open hearth warms the 2 seats awaiting us.
Can I offer you a drink?
Do you have any water? The wizard cocks quizzically eye in surprise.
Are you sure I can't tempt you with something a little stronger?
You can tempt all you like. I'm more worried about making the return journey to your front door in one piece. The spellcaster nods his head with sage approval.
Ah, yes, of course. Water it is, then.
The wizard leans over and picks up a small, unassuming stick from the side table. He waves it with a flick of his wrist. A glass unexpectedly appears in my hand, filled to the brim with a pale orange liquid. The wizard looks a little embarrassed by his mistake. A second flick of his wrist removes the drink from his existence, but not before a few drops of liquid spill into my lap.
Damn, sorry about that. This thing can be a little temperamental, especially if I've ignored it for a while.
A temperamental wand? Whatever next? A moody orb? An emotional robe? A hot-headed staff? Ignored it?
All wands have a personality. This one in particular likes to be the center of attention.
I always knew wizards treated their wands like a beloved family member, but am I hearing this right? Wands have personalities? I'm slightly concerned. The wizard's isolation has pushed him closer toward insanity. I watch as he taps the wand on the side table several times, as if trying to knock the gremlins out of it. Gremlins are small, mischievous critters that go around unfastening the straps on any unsecured armor, unscrewing the stoppers on potions, or sabotaging wands to explode unexpectedly on use. Before trying once more, this time a glass filled with a cold, clear liquid appeared in my hand. I tentatively sip at it, just in case it's something that will put hair on my chest. Not that I don't already have hairs on my chest, it's just I don't want to risk drinking something that turns me into a rug that's more pissed off looking than the one currently beneath my feet. But it's only water, mercifully.
Ah, now it decides to work. I sometimes wonder why I bothered to make this thing. It's always playing up.
Wait, you made this wand? The wizard beams with pride.
Of course. Making magic items is my specialty.
Forgive me, I thought you made your name as an adventurer, not a creator of magical trinkets. The wizard's demeanor sours slightly as he tuts at my comment. Did I say something wrong?
I haven't adventured in a long time. To be honest with you, it's not a period in my life that I'm proud of or want to be remembered for.
But the saga of your heroics in the caves of Rebulum is the stuff of legends. The caves of Rebulum were home to the much feared bungee, a type of giant spider that would leap from the rocky ceiling on stretchy webs before hoisting unsuspecting victims off the cave floor and springing back to the ceiling to consume them. Unfortunately, the near-blind bungee would often misjudge the velocity of their ascent and impact hard into the ceiling surface, together with the screaming victim, resulting in a rather sticky splat. Fortunately, Morgan's panache for fireballs saw the much-feared bungee wind up on the endangered monster list, only whispered by tired parents to unruly children who refuse to go to bed. If you don't go to sleep, the bungee will jump down and splat you into the ceiling. What could possibly make you turn your back on something most of us can only dream of? The wizard sucks in his breath and holds it for a moment. He waves his wand once more. This time, a stiff drink appears in his hand. He downs it in one swift motion and quickly summons a refill.
There was an incident.
An incident?
Okay. An accident.
Were you hurt?
Me? No. I escaped relatively unscathed.
What about the rest of your adventuring party? The spellcaster does not meet my gaze, choosing instead to stare deep into the flames of the fire burning in the hearth.
They weren't so lucky.
It is now my turn to look away, ostensibly for a sip of water to soothe my dry mouth. I feel the wizard's eye upon me, unhappy about reliving the past.
Ask your question, Loremaster.
What happened? The wizard visibly shakes as he quickly downs his second drink and summons a third.
There was a crypt. I forget the name now. They all seem to roll into one these days.
Who was with you?
Let me think. There was a paladin, a fighter, a rogue, a cleric, and the legend himself, Arin Darkblade.
My eyebrows rise at the mention of Arin's name.
I take it you've heard of him.
Who hasn't heard of Arin Darkblade, the realm's most successful hero? It's worth noting that success in the adventuring business is usually measured by whether you're still breathing after completing an adventure. Those who aren't successful typically wind up dead.
And the realm's most dangerous too. Don't forget that. He once stole my shoes after I accidentally knocked his arm as he was drinking his ale.
If I'm being honest, that doesn't sound too dangerous.
Really? Well, let's see how you cope with bare feet and the ground covered in tickle thorns. It took me nearly an hour to finally crawl out, by which time my eyes were red from the tears of laughter I had endured.
Tickle thorns may sound unimpressive as a form of torture, but no other punishment comes close to the effectiveness this bothersome plant can deliver. It's so potent. Many torturers wear a vial of tickle thorns around their neck to break in case of emergencies, such as a particularly stubborn prisoner. Ah, I see. But your adventuring party must have been filled with confidence nonetheless, knowing Arin Darkblade's sword was with them. A point of clarity for those not familiar with my writings, I don't just mean Arin's sword here. Otherwise, I can imagine the grizzled adventurer being somewhat perplexed on his next adventure when he goes to draw his weapon only to discover it's missing.
Nope. It just made us all nervous as anything. I mean, here was this famous hero who was in our adventuring party. Being honest, we all felt a little out of our depth.
He's just a man, just a normal man. Granted, not like you and me, but he's only flesh and blood all the same. The wizard chuckles to himself.
Just a normal man. Anyway, I can still recall that fateful morning. We had camped on the hill overlooking the crypt. A dark sense of trepidation fell over the group as we began to make our descent into that unholy catacomb. Maybe it was the smell of death that filled the air, but most of us experienced the feeling of dread, as if something wasn't quite right about this particular quest. Only Arin and one of the younger fighters seemed unaffected. I can't remember his name, but he was a new recruit on his first or second adventure. If I close my eyes, I can still see his face, full of life and nervous excitement, as we ventured deeper into that unholy tomb.
When was this?
Oh, let me see. 8, maybe 9 summers ago.
When Morgan the Magnificent was at the height of his legendary fame. The wizard tuts scornfully.
That name died with my companions in that crypt. There was nothing magnificent about what I did to them.
I was scared to ask my next question, so grave an air had the wizard assumed, but I knew I must. What did you do to them? There is a tear hidden behind the wizard's weary eyes. It finally breaks rank and rolls down his worn cheek, disappearing in a crease of facial skin only to emerge on the point of his chin a heartbeat later.
I burned them, turned them to ash. Their screams pleaded with me to stop the inferno, but I couldn't. It was too late. Far, far too late.
An inferno? What? How did that happen? Why did no one survive?
It was that damn warlock lich's fault.
It appeared out of nowhere. I just cast it instinctively.
Cast what?
A fireball.
It should come as no surprise that Fireball topped the wizarding spell list for the most frequent spell to be cast this summer. Second place went to the increasingly popular Firebolt, closely followed by the heartburn-inducing Fire Burp in third place. Why wizards have such an affinity for fire-based spells is beyond me. Perhaps behind every pointy hat with a spellbook is a pyromaniac with a pointy hat, wanting to watch the realm burn.
A bloody fireball. I thought we were safe, a safe distance from its blast radius. But I was wrong. So wrong. I had badly miscalculated the size of the room we were standing in at the time.
Everybody died?
Only Arin Darkblade and I walked away from it unscathed.
What did he say to you?
What could he say? It was an unfortunate accident that left a permanent scar on both his memory and mine. I'm pretty sure he may have sworn at me. Yes, now that I recall, he definitely swore at me. It wasn't a nice word either.
What did you do about the quest? Or the warlock lich?
It sensibly fled deeper into the crypt, and we weren't in any position to give chase, so we abandoned the quest. Arin helped me scrape what was left of our companions into a sack, and we got out of there quick. It wasn't my proudest moment, but what else could we do?
What happened afterwards, when you were safely away from the place? The wizard sucks in his breath and holds it for a few beats before exhaling.
We did what any hero would do. We buried them. They had adventured together, so it was only fitting that they should be laid to rest together. We found a quiet spot on a hillside overlooking a river by a crossroad. I think the cleric would have approved of the view. The paladin, probably not so much.
I still don't understand why a cleric and a paladin would go on an adventure together. They're practically the same hero doing the same thing.
We dug a small hole and dropped the sack in. I mumbled a few apologetic words. I'm pretty sure Arin swore at me again. Then we left. I haven't been back since.
What happened when you returned home? Simply Morgan shifts uncomfortably in his seat.
Yeah, that was a difficult time. Both Arin and the cleric were members of the Heroes Guild. I assume you know of them.
My mother and father were both members. They still attend its annual banquet. I'm being a little generous by calling it a banquet.
It's actually an excuse for my parents to meet up with some old adventuring buddies at the Duncan Witch Inn, get blind drunk, and start singing loudly about the lost orc of Arrowmire. Spoiler alert, the orc was never found. Though both retired from adventuring a long time ago, I understand the guild likes to take care of its own, or so my father always told me.
Quite. So, you can understand why then, when one of the heroes didn't return, questions were asked. Awkward questions. The Heroes Guild was understandably alarmed that one of their number had fallen. Fortunately, being a Heroes Guild member, Aaron managed to smooth the incident over. He calmly told them it was a freak accident caused by the rogue, who had set off a trap that unfortunately incinerated most of the party.
He lied. Why did he do that?
Aaron didn't want to be associated with a botched quest. He also knew the guilt of my mistake weighed heavily on my conscience. He convinced me that shifting the blame onto the dead rogue was best for everyone. I protested. Of course, said I had to face the consequences of my actions. But Aaron insisted on pointing the blame at the poor thief. I mean, it's not as if he could complain about it much anyway. And nobody argues with Aaron Darkblade. I swallowed the truth and buried my guilt along with the fried remains of my comrades.
But that still didn't sit well with you.
I swore I would never go on another adventure ever again. That would be my punishment.
Did the Heroes Guild believe your ruse?
Aaron's word carries a lot of weight at the Heroes Guild. Nobody questioned it when the report was finally passed onto the tallyman.
Tallymen are employed by the Heroes Guild to write up reports for every adventure and adventurer, be they successful or not. I would imagine the paperwork needed here would require a forest-sized number of trees alone. They never questioned you about it either? The wizard stares into the spluttering flames in the hearth.
Never questioned, nor ever spoken about it since.
Why are you trusting me with this information? Aren't you worried the Heroes Guild will find out the truth about what happened in that crypt?
Maybe it's time that the truth came out. I'm old, too old to worry about what may or may not happen to me. I'm ready to face my demons. Time is not on my side. I don't want to spend my last days with this remorse weighing me down. I like the look of you, Loremaster. For whatever reason, I trust you to bring a little more truth into this realm.
What about Aaron Darkblade? What will happen when this revelation is exposed?
He'll be fine. He's too embedded in the Heroes Guild for this to damage his reputation. Sure, he'll probably swear a bit more. I take that back. He'll probably swear a lot more. But nobody will dare cross swords with him. Not even those running the Heroes Guild are that foolish.
Have you seen Aaron since the incident?
No, But I know he also stepped back from adventuring after that fateful day. He's more of a figurehead at the guild now, an adventuring siren, luring the next wave of heroes through their doors.
The wizard rises from his seat and walks over to the dying embers. A few well-aimed prods with a poker encourages the fire to stay alive a while longer. I wager a few of the wizard's more rebellious wands have found themselves used as makeshift kindling.
I was a great wizard, you know, powerful, knowledgeable, a force for good in this realm. Look at me now, spending the rest of my days in this crumbling stronghold, creating magical trinkets to scratch a living. All that studying, all that potential, what a waste. Still, it could be worse. I could be like that old goat Ingelbold, traversing the merchant's road peddling so-called potions to any fool with coin to lose, be they peasant or paladin. At least I became a certified supplier for the Heroes Guild. I may not be active anymore, but I've not fallen far from the adventuring tree.
Certified supplier?
Of magical trinkets and objects. I have probably created most of the magical items a Heroes Guild member carries on any given quest. My wares are all made here in my castle, away from prying eyes.
Prying eyes?
My competitors.
You mean Ingelbold?
He has become something of a nemesis of late, a potioneer who believes potions. A potioneer who believes potions are the future. I, on the other hand, believe he's an idiot.
Why?
My magical items don't have any hazardous side effects, unlike Ingelbold's potions.
I think my drink-soaked lab would say otherwise. Why? What do his potions do?
You'll have to ask him. I'm afraid I just don't drink any of the wretched concoctions he offers you. You may find yourself transformed into some kind of hideous abomination with a taste for horse flesh. Then you'll be screwed. Every adventurer in the realm will be hunting the bounty on your head, and you won't want that.
I shiver at the thought as I look around the room, taking in the tired decor. You live here alone?
Does it look like I'm employing a maid? No. I'm happy in my own company, living out my days in this retirement castle by the sea. That's more than enough for me.
You never wanted to share your life with anyone?
No, never. And certainly not now. I'm too long in the tooth, too set in my ways to spend the little time I have left with someone. They'd never last anyway.
Why?
They'd probably forget to mind their step and fall through the floorboards in the sea below. I couldn't have another death on my conscience.
I had forgotten this little detail about Morgan's death trap castle. Now my mind is scrambling like crazy as I imagine myself plummeting towards the sharp sea rocks below. I wince and try to banish the image from my consciousness. My brain has a delightful habit of doing this just when courage, a steady nerve, and a steadier footfall is needed. Fair enough, but at the peak of your adventuring fame, you must have received many offers.
From all genders and species alike.
A curious part of me wants to dig deeper. But the sensible part of me knows to leave this question well alone. But no one special? The wizard stares wistfully off into the distance.
Once, but that was long ago.
What happened?
The magic didn't last.
Ah, I hear that's something that happens in relationships over time.
No, I mean, the magic really didn't last.
What? I don't understand.
When I was with her, I couldn't perform, you know?
Sexually?
No! You fool! Not sexually, magically.
You became spell impotent? Although I guess a hastily cast levitation spell wouldn't have been much help in this situation.
Don't laugh, but I couldn't get a single cantrip right when she was around.
What did you do?
What do you think? It was either the magic or her.
So you chose your spells?
You don't see any wedding band on my finger, do you? Which reminds me, I have something for you.
The wizard digs into his pocket and draws out a small object. A ring. He throws it to me and grins. Holding it up in my fingers, I marvel at the intricate wave pattern etched into the surface.
Here you go.
Uh, Thanks. What is it?
It is a gift, a ring of water breathing.
Water breathing? I give the wizard a confused look as I turn the trinket over in my fingers.
Yeah, just in case you misplace a step on your way out.
I really hope I don't end up in a watery grave. And this, dear listeners, is the end of our review of the hero interviews by Andi Ewington. If you want to get to know more of the heroes, our Loremaster interviews, like Hagworl the Shovelsmith, or Axelgrind the Bard, or maybe Snodgrass the Goblin Archer, then you're very welcome to pre-order the book
on Amazon. I will post you the link in chat. Also, follow Andi on Twitter if you want to be informed about further more projects or just be entertained by his posts. And the book comes out December the 1st. So if you still need something for your Christmas list or a present for somebody that likes the Discworld novels or the Hitchhiker's Guide, I think this book is the perfect choice. It is very funny and it gets better and better with every chapter. Exactly, Shakal. Fire accidents are common within adventurers. You wouldn't know about that from your pen and paper experience. Totally not. Also, I also think spell impotent is a great word. Also, thank you, Confused Simba, for your follow. Thank you very much. Welcome. Thank you, Andi, for your compliment. I had a lot of fun. You guys didn't see, I was basically method acting. I was gesturing wildly while I read. That was so much fun. No, you never burnt a city accidentally. No. Nope. Never happened. My personally favorite part of this was the explanation of what a barker is, because my first thought every time I read this, and I have read this part several times, is Gondor calls for help. I can't stop thinking about that. I nearly made a comment while reading because that's so amazing. That's the best idea I've read in a while. There were also a lot of references I understood. The beating the goblins or gnomes out of the wand. That is an amazing Bob Ross reference. For the records, if you missed that. Barker jokes, yay! But yeah, I appreciate the gremlins, right? Beating the gremlins out of the wand. I appreciate that reference a lot. When I read that, I was thinking, some people in the chat might not understand that just because they're too young to know the joys of Bob Ross. But yeah, it is so nice to read. So yeah, a lot of movie references. It's like it's like an indie game that you want to play a lot. This book, I just want to read it over and over just to get all the little references and even the subtle ones, and then like think about, okay, I know this is a reference. Where is it from? What could it be? That's a lot of fun too. So thank you, Andi, that we could read from your book today. That was a lot of fun. I also had a lot of fun reading in English, so I hope my chat was also excited about it. Again, if you want to know more about it, get it on Amazon, get the ebook, and read it for yourself. It is highly recommended. Let me get us some music in the background. There. You're very welcome. Oh boy, I'm exhausted from waving my arms so much. Got to go, so catch you soon. Bye, Andy. Thank you for stopping by and being in chat. I appreciate that. Have a nice evening and a nice weekend. Bye bye. A Lincoln Zillion? I actually don't know. Oh yeah. No plans yet, but I'll try. So, dear chat, we will switch over to German again. So if you don't, if you're an English speaker and still want to interact, feel free to. I'm able to switch fluently between languages, so you don't have to feel left out. But we're going to read something in German now as an end to the stream, as we're nearing the last, I don't know how long, but you know, the last bit of the stream. So, na, ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Ich hoffe, es war okay, dass wir auf Englisch gelesen haben. Das Buch ist so lustig. Oh, es ist so lustig. Ich habe mir so gewünscht, eigentlich hätte ich mir gewünscht, dass wir das nächste Kapitel auch noch lesen. Das hat sehr zu mir als mit meiner Dungeon Master Seele gesprochen, das nächste Kapitel. Es ist so, wie ich schon sagte, es gibt so viele Referenzen, die so gut gemacht sind. Und wie ihr vielleicht schon gemerkt habt, es sind wirklich 2 Bücher. Einmal die Erzählung, die Interviews und dann die ganzen Fußnoten. Ich glaube, lass mich mal gucken. Ich glaube, irgendwo steht, dass es, wie viele Fußnoten das Buch hat. Lasst mich das mal kurz nachgucken. Also es hat auf alle Fälle über 1660 Fußnoten. Und wenn man das Ganze auf dem Kindle liest, dann kriegt man kleine Pop-up-Fenster, wenn man auf die Fußnoten klickt. Das gilt bestimmt auch für andere Reader. Bei meinem, ich habe ja keinen E-Book-Reader an sich. Ich lese das auf dem Tablet mit einem Programm. Und da funktionieren die Pop-ups nicht. Was dann passiert, wenn man auf die Fußnote klickt, ist, man wird sozusagen ans Ende des Kapitels teleportiert, wo die Fußnoten stehen. Wenn man dann wieder auf dieselbe Fußnote klickt, kommt man wieder zurück. Hab durchaus nicht alles mitbekommen, dafür bin ich zu schlecht darin, im Englischen aufmerksam dran zu bleiben. Aber was ich mitbekommen habe, fand ich unterhaltsam. Finde ich auch. Das Spell Impotent und dann die ganze Sache mit dem Barbar und dem fällenden Lendenschurz. Wo das Kommentar dann war, ich weiß, es wirkt anders, aber ich will den wirklich nicht zum Strippen bewegen. Das ist genau mein Humor. Viele von diesen Kommentaren sprechen mir sehr aus der Seele, muss ich gestehen. Apropos englische Bücher. Ich weiß nicht, ob ihr das schon mitbekommen habt, aber ich bin aktuell in Kontakt mit einem englischen Verlag für Dezember. Ich habe nämlich ein Buch entdeckt, diesmal vom Genre Horror, das mich sehr interessiert hat. Und ich habe einfach mal gefragt, ob wir das im Stream lesen dürfen. Und es sieht, glaube ich, ganz gut aus. Ich warte mal noch auf eine Antwort seit Freitag und vergesse dann immer, dass hier Wochenende ist und dass die Leute am Wochenende nicht arbeiten. Aber es sieht ganz gut aus, dass wir das im Dezember lesen dürfen. Was ich sehr, 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 sehr toll finde. Und nächste Woche schaltet unbedingt wieder ein, denn wir machen einen Weihnachtslisten-Stream. Das wird folgendermaßen ablaufen. Ich habe eine Liste an empfehlenswerten Büchern. Und wir reden über alle, die auf dieser Liste stehen. Ich werde Inhaltszusammenfassungen geben, Klappentexte vorlesen, Covers zeigen und euch einfach viele, viele Bücher empfehlen, die mir sehr am Herzen liegen, von denen ich weiß, dass sie sehr empfehlenswert sind. Und falls ihr nämlich noch etwas für eure eigene Weihnachtsliste braucht, etwas, das ihr kennt es ja eh alle. Oft sind es die Großeltern, die einen fragen, jedes Jahr wieder, was wünschst du dir denn? Und in vielen Fällen weiß man dann nicht so genau, was man sagen soll. Und dann kommt es darauf hinaus, dass man sagt, ja, schenk halt einfach Geld. Vielen Leuten ist es dann unangenehm, weil man will ja ein Geschenk schenken und dann ist man ein bisschen enttäuscht. Und deswegen, ich habe herausgefunden, wenn man entsprechenden Verwandten oder Freunden dann ein Buch nennt, das sie einem schenken können, dann freuen die sich riesig, dass sie etwas kaufen können, was sie dann verpacken können oder was sie einem überreichen können, was nicht Geld ist. Dementsprechend, falls ihr noch Bücher in diese Richtung braucht, nächste Woche gehen wir durch eine ganze Liste. Ich weiß noch gar nicht, auf wie viele Bücher ich es limitieren soll, die es sich zu lesen lohnt. Oder, falls ihr mehr die Hörbuch-Liebhaber seid, könnt ihr euch ja auch das Hörbuch wünschen zum Weihnachten. Oder das Hörbuch verschenken. Falls ihr jemanden kennt, der ein Bücherfreak ist und Bücher liebt, könnt ihr natürlich Dinge von der Liste auch verschenken. Das stimmt, gilt auch für viele Sachen, die man zwar haben möchte, aber die man halt selbst aussuchen will und nicht so einfach zum Schenken zu vergeben sind. Genau, weil man kann ja nicht einfach sagen, ja, schenk mir halt ein Buch, weil die zu schenkende Person müsste ja dann wissen, was man schon alles gelesen hat und für was man sich interessiert. Und es ist einfacher zu sagen, hier hast du ein Buch, das ich möchte. Kannst du mir das bitte schenken? Oder eine Auswahl, wenn man sich gerne überraschen lassen möchte. Deswegen nächste Woche der große Empfehlungslisten-Stream. Es werden nur Fantasy-Bücher drauf sein und die meisten sind auf Englisch. Ich wünsche mir dieses Jahr das Spiel Flügelschlag. Ist das nicht das ist ein Brettspiel, oder? Und ich dachte, ist es nicht eines von diesen Spielen, das ein Brettspiel ist und ein Videospiel? Ich weiß nur vom Brettspiel. Ich glaube, ich habe das schon gesehen. Das finde ich cool. Heutzutage werden ja viel zu wenig Brettspiele gespielt, habe ich das Gefühl. Es geht um Vögel. Ja, du bist ja so ein Vogelfan, nicht wahr? Du musst dann uns unbedingt berichten, nachdem du es gespielt hast natürlich. wie es so ist. So, was wollen wir denn jetzt noch lesen als Abschluss heute? Auf was habt ihr denn Lust? Könnt ihr mal was überlegen und ich ändere währenddessen den Streamtitel. Ihr könnt auch Bene sagen, dass er wiederkommen kann. Du bist schon da. Hallo Bene. So, lass mich mal den Titel ändern. So, auf was haben wir denn Lust, ihr Lieben? Wir können... Sherlock ist wahrscheinlich zu lang. Wir können uns ein Märchen aussuchen oder Gedichte. Wir können deutsche Sagen lesen. Oh, das ist zu weit, warte mal. Irgendwelche besonderen Wünsche? Anregungen? Ich kann einfach nicht mitsummen. Das geht nicht. Ich bekomme immer eine Woche lang den Ohrwurm von Let It Snow. Plüschkeks-Solo. Es gibt einfach so viele schöne Weihnachtslieder. Okay, nein, Fokus aufs Lesen. Ich würde ja Musikstreams machen, aber ich habe gelesen in den Twitch-Richtlinien, dass man auf Twitch nicht Karaoke singen darf. sondern man muss seine eigene Begleitung machen und ich kann leider nicht Gitarre spielen. Das ist natürlich sehr ungünstig. Ich kann zwar eigentlich ziemlich gut Klavier spielen, aber ich kann mich nicht beim Singen selber begleiten. Und das geht auch, ich habe auch nicht das Setup dafür. Das ist total doof. Ich würde voll gerne immer wieder mal was singen, aber wenn ich dann nicht einfach so eine Karaoke-Musik drunter legen kann, ist es auch doof. Weißt, a cappella, es ist auch irgendwie witzlos. Das finde ich sehr schade. Ich habe mich früher immer gefragt, warum sich so viele mit der Gitarre selbst begleiten. Jetzt weiß ich's. Wobei ich nicht weiß, ob das auch gilt, wenn man die Musik fürs VOD ausmacht. Ich glaube schon. Ich habe das mal vor einer Weile nachgeguckt, jetzt weiß ich es gar nicht mehr so genau. Aber das wäre natürlich neat. Vor allem in der Weihnachtszeit. Oh Gott, diese ganzen Weihnachtsschnulzen. Das wäre schön. Man ist ja nicht so eine umsonst studierte Sängerin, ja. Man ist gerade voll gemütlich. Ich bin gerade voll in Weihnachtsstimmung. Die Lichter im Stream, der Kamin. Ich habe hier eine Kerze angezündet. Die Musik dazu. Es fehlt eigentlich nur noch, dass es anfängt zu schneien. Und morgen wird auch auf jeden Fall gebacken. Morgen ist ja erster Advent. Und ich mache morgen meine Lebkuchen. Eigentlich wollte ich heute den Teig machen, aber irgendwie habe ich das total verschwitzt. Wir backen morgen auch, jedes Jahr zum ersten Advent. Oh, das ist voll cool, Bene. Was backt ihr denn? Ich fange mit den Lebkuchen an, damit die Zeit haben, weich zu werden. Honiglebkuchen. Oh. Ein einfaches Mürbteig-Rezept aus einem Kinderbuch, das ich seit dem Kindergarten habe. To be honest, die einfachen Mürbteig-Kekse, all-time favorite. Die gehen einfach immer. Die müssen auch immer dabei sein. Also, das sind auch meine Lieblingskekse. Meine Oma hat die hat immer 2 so Mürbteig-Kekse genommen und hat ein bisschen Marmelade dazwischen gemacht und die dann zusammengeklebt. Und dann oben Puderzucker drauf. Das waren die Lieblingskekse der ganzen Familie. Und das Problem ist, du brauchst halt immer 4-fache Menge, weil du die ja zusammenklebst. Aber zum selber machen ist mir das zu viel Arbeit. Ich habe auch nicht so viel Arbeitsfläche in der Küche. Deswegen beschränke ich das Plätzchenbacken auf ein Minimum. Aber es gibt Lebkuchen, Honiglebkuchen, Mürbteigplätzchen, wie bei Bene. Und, ganz lustig, Schokobrot. Ich habe erst später herausgefunden, dass es eigentlich Brownies sind. Bei uns hieß es immer Schokobrot. Ich mache sie vor allem aus Traditionsgründen. Wenn man seit ein paar Jahrzehnten jedes Jahr dasselbe Rezept backt, kann man doch nicht einfach damit aufhören. Ich stimme absolut zu, Bene. Ich stimme zu. Es hat doch was Schönes, wenn man die Tradition weiterträgt und es ist auch so ein bisschen was Einstimmendes auf die Weihnachtszeit und die selbstgemachten Kekse schmecken sowieso immer besser als die gekauften. Man kann lustig dekorieren und zusammen backen. Vor allem, wenn man halt nicht alleine backt. Ist total schön und dann macht man Weihnachtsmusik an und dann ist alles ganz toll. Das ist irgendwie voll romantisch. Auf eine sehr positive Art. Also auf eine nicht... Ich weiß nicht, wo ich mit dem Satz hin wollte. Aber das ist so das Weihnachtsfeeling für mich. Ich habe den Satz angefangen und dann dachte ich mir so, was sage ich eigentlich da? Ich war abgelenkt von der Musik. Oh, wir können ja auch das Cover des Buchs jetzt aus dem Stream rollen. So. Ach ja. Ist irgendwie voll gemütlich, einfach nur so da sitzen und mit euch reden. Dabei habe ich gar nicht so viele Dinge zu erzählen. Naja, der darf mir jetzt nicht ins Ohr singen. Hallo? Entschuldigen Sie bitte, ich finde Ihren Song ganz gut, aber ich bin hier diejenige, die spricht. Entschuldigen Sie bitte, hallo? Das möchte ich nicht unterstützen. Ich glaube, die sind jetzt gut, dann gehen wir halt da wieder hin. Singt ihr mir einfach ins Ohr. Ich bin hier diejenige, die singt. Schon besser. Spielt ihr gerade was? Also ein Videospiel, meine ich. Habt ihr gerade was am Laufen? Hört sich auch irgendwie verkehrt an. Ich spiele hier gerade Tales of the Neon Sea. Ein sehr, sehr amüsantes 2D-Pixel Detective RPG. Hab daher aktuell nur einen Bildschirm, daher nein. Schakal, ich habe auch nur einen Bildschirm. Warum hindert dich das am Gamen? Ich habe bis eben Victoria 3 gespielt, aber aufgehört. Was ist denn Victoria 3? Das kommt mir gar nicht bekannt vor. Och, so generell. Ja, mein Laptop war alt und der vorübergehende Laptop noch älter. Das kenne ich, Schakal. Ich habe auch erst wieder zum Gamen angefangen mit dem neuen Laptop. Und es ist einfach, es ist so schön. Es ist so schön, wenn nicht die Flugzeugturbinen starten, wenn man irgendein Spiel aufmacht. Neues Overlay. Sieht so heimlich hübsch und großartig aus. Danke, kleiner Drache. Hallo. Herzlich willkommen. Okay, wichtigeres Argument. So wenig Zeit und zu viel anderes zu tun. Aber auf Pika Pika Piqué kann ich jetzt auch mal wieder in Planet Zoo schauen. Ist Pika Pika Piqué der Name deines Computers? Komm grad halt vom Sport rein, hihi. Na dann mach's dir gemütlich. Victoria 3 ist eine Globalstrategie im viktorianischen Zeitalter. Von Paradox, das letzten Monat herausgekommen ist. Spielt sich fast wie Tricky Towers. Pika Pika ist der wissenschaftliche Name der Elster. Cool, das wusste ich gar nicht. Ich mag Elstern voll. Erstmal kurz duschen, dann kann ich final gemütlich machen. Naja, dann viel Spaß beim Duschen. Piqué ist die italienische Bezeichnung der Kartenfarbe Pik. Also Elster Pik. Aha. Wusste ich auch nicht, was Schakal steht. Voll cool. Victoria 3 ist wie Tricky Towers. Wir müssen morgen unbedingt spielen. Und ich muss es noch installieren. Ha. Ich auch erst seit vorher, als ich es nachgeschaut habe. Weil er endlich einen Namen brauchte. Und Pika übrigens die spanische Bezeichnung für Pik, witzigerweise. Also theoretisch hast du Pik, Pik, Pik oder Elster Pik. Ach, ich finde es schön. Leute finden immer so kreative Namen für ihre Geräte. Mein Laptop heißt Allegra, weil er so schnell ist. Pik, Pik, Pik. Mein Rechner trägt den sehr kreativen Namen Benedikt Ubuntu. Woher das so kommt. Habe bei Instagram den Videoausschnitt von Steve Harvey, einem der TV-Moderatoren aus dem US. Dass da jemand in seiner Gameshow war mit dem Namen Obu Obu Obu. Und sein Vater hieß auch Obu. Das ist ein Name mit sehr langer Tradition. Pika 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 und Obu Obu Obu. Gemein. Der hat einfach die Harmonie geändert. Be right back. Viel Spaß beim Duschen. Oh Mann, ich hätte jetzt voll gern ein Heißgetränk. Mann, ich sag's euch, Weihnachtsmusik bringt mich immer in diese Stimmung. Kakao wäre jetzt was. Ja. Kakao oder Glühwein. Also nicht Glühwein, aber so Früchtetee mit einem Schuss Wein. Heißgetränk. Mein Tee ist alle. Ich könnte mir einen Kakao machen. Aber da müsste ich aufstehen. Siehst du, Bini, das ist auch mein Problem. Ich müsste jetzt auch aufstehen. Ich müsste Milch im Topf erhitzen. Schakal, ich fühle dich. Ich habe auch keine Mikrowelle. Das hält mich immer davon ab, heißen Kakao zu trinken, weil dann muss man den Topf spülen. Was für ein Umstand. Einen Wasserkocher haben wir, das ist gut, den braucht man auch ganz dringend. Ich glaube, dein Problem ist größer. Ich könnte dich mitnehmen. Andersherum wird es vermutlich schwierig. Bene, nimm mich mit. Ich habe nur etwas Hafermilch da. Ich weiß nicht, ich habe nur einmal, ich glaube, ich habe einmal Mandelmilch ausprobiert. Das war nicht so mein Fall. Aber ich bin nicht so bewandert in den Milchalternativen. Nee, du bist nicht allein, Schakal. Ich bin auch im Team, keine Mikrowelle. Die Menschen wissen gar nicht, was sie an ihrem Kakao haben. Ja? Die wissen gar nicht, wie privilegiert sie sind, dass sie sich einfach jederzeit einen heißen Kakao machen können, ohne einen Topf. Ohne zu warten, bis die Milch kocht und dann die Haut abzupopeln. die auf der Milch entsteht und dann aufzupassen, dass die Milch nicht überkocht und anbrennt. Die Leute wissen gar nicht mehr, wie privilegiert sie sind. Im Team keine Mikrowelle und daher zu faul, sich warmen Kakao zu machen, weil dann müsste man ja Milch im Topf aufkochen. Das trifft's. Das fasst es sehr gut zusammen. Weißt du, Mikrowellen gibt in dieser großen Halle in Orten, heißt Laden. Habe ich noch nie gehört. Ich war noch nie in einem Laden. Außerdem sind die Mikrowellen bestimmt total klein, sonst würden sie ja Makrowellen heißen. Und wenn sie Makrowellen heißen, dann sind sie wahrscheinlich viel zu groß. Also kann man die gar nicht kaufen, Bene. Gibt es da auch mehr Platz, damit man sich die Mikrowelle auch irgendwo hinstellen kann? Same. Ich hätte auch voll gern so einen großen, so eine Küchenmaschine, so ein KitchenAid. Aber ich habe auch keinen Platz, um das irgendwo hinzustellen. Und dann die Sache, wenn du das Ding nicht irgendwo stehen lassen kannst auf der Arbeitsfläche, sondern du musst es immer irgendwie wegpacken, dann ist auch wieder doof. Vor allem bei der Mikrowelle. Ich glaube, ich habe euch gerade ins Ohr gegähnt. Entschuldigung, ich vergesse manchmal, dass ich streame. Mit euch reden fühlt sich an, als wäre ich einfach in einem Discord-Call. Ich meine, minus den Fakt, dass ich euch nicht hören kann. Aber ich kenne hier auch ganz offen. Naja, Schakal, dich hört man ja nicht. Dein wahrscheinlich sehr süßes Gähnen kann ich ja nicht hören. Es kann sich ja immer noch wie in einem Discord-Gespräch anfühlen, nur dass du dann alleine sitzt. Oh, Benedikt. Wie gemein. Die anderen nur schreiben. Oh, ich fühle mich, als wäre ich ganz allein in einem Discord-Call. Das stimmt ja nicht. Weil ihr seid ja da, also bin ich ja nicht ganz allein. Siehst du? Siehst du? Wenn mir vor 2 Monaten jemand gesagt hätte, man kann auch einfach nur in seinem Stream sitzen, Weihnachtsmusik anhören und sich irgendwie ganz slow pace mit dem Chat unterhalten, hätte ich gesagt, nein, aber man muss doch was tun im Stream, man muss doch aktiv sein. Es sei denn, wir können deine Gedanken lesen. Aber das nimmt dann etwas hypothetische Züge an. Biene, ich glaube, du kannst froh sein, dass du meine Gedanken nicht lesen kannst. Meine Gedanken sind besonderes Territorium. Wenn man annimmt, dass das, was im Discord landet, die gefilterte Version deiner Gedanken darstellt, könnte das doch ziemlich amüsant werden. Oh, amüsant ist es auf jeden Fall. Hast du mal den Film Störche gesehen? Den Animationsfilm? Störche wie der Vogel? Das ist so ungefähr... Der ganze Film ist so ungefähr ungefiltert das, was du... Ja, das ist ungefähr ungefiltert. Meine Gedankengänge. Es war ein sehr interessantes Erlebnis, als ich den Film zum ersten Mal gesehen habe. Es fühlte sich sehr vertraut an. Ach, der Film ist einfach gut. Falls ihr den nicht gesehen habt, falls ihr den Film Störche nicht kennt, guckt ihn euch an. Schakal, es geht um Vögel. Du magst Vögel, du solltest ihn angucken. Störche ist ein wunderbarer Animationsfilm, der sehr lustig ist. Er ist wirklich sehr lustig. Es geht um Babys und um Störche. Es werden ein paar Babys abgeleckt und es kommen auch andere Vögel vor. Ich glaube, den habe ich tatsächlich gesehen. Panda hat ihn vorgeschlagen. Panda hat sehr guten Geschmack. Störche sind zwar nicht meine Lieblingsvögel, aber ja. Ja, ich glaube, es kommen keine Raubvögel vor. Es kommen Rotkehlchen vor, Tauben. Es kommen noch ein paar andere Vögel vor. Größtenteils Störche. Es kommen auch Wölfe vor. Magst du Wölfe? Also, hotte Filmempfehlung. Wenn ihr dieses Wochenende einen lustigen Film angucken wollt, guckt euch Störche an. Ich mag Wölfe. Gut. Dann guck dir Störche an. Wenn du Wölfe magst, guck dir Störche an. Das ist auch ein Satz, den man irgendwie nur im Stream sagt, oder? Nein, kann ich wirklich empfehlen. Es kennen viel zu wenig Leute diesen Animationsfilm. Und er ist zum Kaputtlachen. Ich habe mir den Film angesehen, mehrfach. Und ich muss jedes Mal von Anfang bis Ende fast durchgehend kichern. Es ist einfach... Stellt euch vor, ich hätte ein Filmskript geschrieben und talentierte Leute hätten das dann animiert. Auf diesem Level des Humors befinden wir uns. Ist wirklich sehr süß. Ihr solltet euch guckt euch auf alle Fälle den Trailer an. Ist richtig gut. Ich glaube, das ist mein liebster Animationsfilm. Minus Ghibli-Filme. Die sind extra. Also alles japanische ist extra Kategorie. Aber so von den europäischen Animationsfilmen ist das, glaube ich, mein Lieblingsfilm. Er ist einfach so lustig. Er ist so doof. Doof und verrückt. Letztens habe ich mir ja von Lisa Grimm Hinter den Spiegeln so kalt gekauft, weil ich das Buch so interessant finde. Und ich würde es total gern im Stream vorlesen. Aber sie antwortet mir nicht. Was ich sehr schade finde. Die hat bestimmt alles Mögliche zu tun. Und ich kann ihr leider keine Nachricht schreiben. Und auch leider keine E-Mail. Sonst hätte ich das noch probiert. Soll aber sehr gut sein. Ich habe es noch nicht weit gelesen. Ich habe nur ein bisschen reingeschnuppert. Aber ich sehe auf Twitter die ganze Zeit, dass die Leute so erschüttert von diesem Buch sind. Dementsprechend gehe ich davon aus, dass es gut ist. Ich habe mich praktisch influenzen lassen, wenn ich jetzt so drüber nachdenke. Ihr seid einfach da und nichts passiert. Ich verstehe das nicht. Also, nicht, dass ich will, dass ihr geht. Ich habe die ganze Zeit schon was zum Lesen offen. Und stattdessen sitze ich hier, wippe im Takt der Musik und warte darauf, dass im Chat jemand was schreibt. Eieiei. So weit ist es mit mir gekommen. Es ist so entspannend. Ja, finde ich auch. Ich bin auch so entspannt. Ich fühle mich wie so Wackelpudding. Wir können auch einfach nur über irgendwas reden, aber langsam gehen mir ein bisschen die Gesprächsthemen aus. Da war noch irgendwas, über was ich mit euch reden wollte. Ich muss mal eben. Viel Spaß, Schakal. Gerade vorhin wusste ich es noch, jetzt habe ich es wieder vergessen. Ich habe nochmal den Wikipedia-Artikel von Störche gelesen. Den habe ich definitiv gesehen. Babymaschine. Oh ja. Die Babymaschine. Der Film ist einfach toll. Spoilert euch nicht zu sehr. Oh ja, apropos. Das ist also deine Gedankenwelt. Wenig überraschend. Meine Gedankenwelt ist voll mit Babymaschinen und verschiedenen Wolfsformationen. Das ist ja sowieso mein Lieblingsteil. Wolf-U-Boot. Hallo? Wie könnte ich einen Film nicht lieben, der ein Wolfs-U-Boot hat? Und das kann ich jetzt sagen, weil Schakal auf dem Klo ist. Das spoilert also nicht. Außer sie hat uns mitgenommen. Aber hallo. Ich meine, das wirbt eigentlich schon für sich, oder? Hör auf, Babymaschine zu Ich bin so unreif. Wisst ihr noch, früher, oh Gott, jetzt bin ich schon in dem Alter, wisst ihr noch früher, als es so cool war, ein Witzebuch zu besitzen? Einen von diesen fetten Wälzern, wo einfach nur Witzebuch draufsteht und dann einfach nur diese 800 Seiten doofe Witze drin sind. Ohne Autor, ohne alles. Die meisten waren furchtbar. Ja, die waren furchtbar. Ich habe das immer noch. Mein preisgekröntes Witzebuch, das auf dem Buchrücken ein Bild von einem Roboter hat, der Schrauben an eine Wand pinkelt. Das ist auch sehr bezeichnend für den Inhalt dieses Buchs. Danke für den Stream. Ich gehe nun ab ins Bett. Gute Nacht, Tante Hamburg. Schöne Träume und ein schönes Wochenende dir. Ach Mann, die gute alte Zeit mit den Witzebüchern. Da habe ich letztens auch drüber nachgedacht, als ich so dachte, ja, ich könnte ja mal mehr Gedichte im Stream vorlesen und dann ist mir dieses Buch wieder eingefallen und dann jetzt bin ich mir nicht sicher, ob ich euch damit foltern soll oder nicht. Es ist auf jeden Fall copyright-free. Die guten alten schlechten Witze. Vor einer Weile habe ich sogar junge Leute, damit meine ich Kinder, im Zug über so ein Witzebuch reden hören. Die waren ganz, ganz überrascht, dass es sowas gibt. Ach, die Jugend von heute. Der schlechteste Witz aus diesem Buch ging um alte Socken, die brechen und unter dem Bett herumstehen. Was? Das hört sich... Die Zusammenfassung hört sich genau nach einem solchen Witz an, ehrlich gesagt. Ich wollte gerade sagen, die Zusammenfassung macht keinen Sinn, aber es hört sich so an, als würde es in einem Witzebuch stehen. Oh, und damals mit den Witzebüchern, da wusste auch noch immer jeder seinen Lieblingswitz auswendig. Der Witz war furchtbar, deshalb erinnere ich mich noch daran. Aber damals, weißt du, als Witzebücher noch in waren, da konnte jeder seinen Lieblingswitz erzählen. Und die waren alle nicht sexuell. Ist das nicht schön? Heutzutage habe ich das Gefühl, alle Witze, die einem jemand so spontan erzählt, haben irgendwas mit Sexualität zu tun, was ich total doof finde, weil das sind meistens die lahmarschigsten Witze. Mein Problem ist ja immer, ich lache ja mehr als alle anderen, wenn ich einen Witz erzähle. Das heißt, ich habe immer eine good time, wenn ich Witze erzähle, weil ich finde es immer lustig. Ich glaube, für den nächsten Stream muss ich das Witzebuch holen. Und dann foltere ich euch mit ein paar schlechten Witzen. Ich habe sogar mal versucht, einen Witz ins Englische zu übersetzen. Und ich musste dann so lachen. Und ich habe ungefähr bei jedem zweiten Satz gesagt, trust me, that's funny in German. Du findest das super? Verführe mich nicht, Bene. Ich könnte jetzt auch schnell aufstehen und das Witzebuch holen. Einfach nur gemütlich reden und blöde Witze vorlesen. Ja, okay. Wenn jemand kommt, musst du den Leuten erzählen, dass ich kurz das Witzebuch hole, okay? Ich mache jetzt mal nicht den Pausenscreen an. For everybody English still crazy enough to be in stream, I'm going to get a German joke book. Just because. Okay. Bis gleich. Okay. Ich habe es gefunden. Is that a thing? Yes, it is a thing. Because back in the day, where I was still a kid, joke books were the thing. Everybody had one, and you were pretty cool if you had yours over for a sleepover. Willkommen zurück, kleiner Drache. Ich habe es natürlich gleich gefunden. Es war ausgestellt. So. Ich hab auch ein Buch mit schwarzem Humor. Ist aber nicht so lustig. Ist das schwarz? Also, darf man schwarzer Humor heute noch sagen? Makabre Humor. So. So. Das Superwitze. Es heißt sogar das Superwitzebuch. Ja? Wenn das nicht super ist, dann weiß ich es auch nicht. So, ich schlage das jetzt einfach auf einer beliebigen Seite auf und lese den ersten Witz, den ich sehen kann. Der alte Gerichtsrat schüttelt den Kopf. Sie stehen heute schon zum 13. Mal vor mir. Der Angeklagte. Ja, wenn mir einer sympathisch ist, kriegt er alle meine Aufträge. Gottes Willen. Ach, ich habe körperliche Schmerzen. Okay, nächster. Sie haben wohl sehr lange ferngesehen? Ja, wie kommen Sie darauf? Sie sehen so ausgeschlafen aus. Warum dachten wir früher, dass die Witze witzig sind? Sind wir jetzt einfach nur verdorben? Das ist immer noch irgendwie lustig. Wir kannten nichts anderes. Schlimme Zeiten, Frau Meisenzahn. Haben Sie mitbekommen, was gestern in Spanien passiert ist? Nein, ich wohne hinten raus. Oh, Gottes Willen. Wobei viele auch damals schon echt schlecht waren. Ich stimme zu. Stürzt einer in die Eisenbahnhandlung. Schnell, eine Mausefalle bitte. Ich muss den Bus noch kriegen. Bedauere, mein Herr, so große Mausefallen führen wir nicht. Okay, den fand ich eigentlich ganz gut. Der war ja gar nicht schlecht. Ich fühle mich betrogen. Dann wollen wir sie mal gründlich untersuchen, meinte der Arzt. Schwester, die Instrumente bitte, stöhnt der Patient. Sind Sie verrückt? Ich liege hier halb tot und Sie wollen noch musizieren? Ah. Die Schmerzen. Ich brauche mehr Emotes. Ja. Wie wär's mit einem Emote für körperliche Schmerzen? Der Weinvertreter bearbeitet den Gastwirt. Kaufen Sie mir doch ein paar Flaschen von diesem wunderbaren Rotwein ab. Der Wirt murrt. Ich brauche keinen Rotwein. Probieren Sie doch mal. Ich bin eingedeckt. Ja, aber riechen Sie doch mal. Noch ein Wort und ich feuer Sie die Treppe runter. Aber dieser Rotwein. Der Wirt macht seine Drohung wahr. Der Vertreter bleibt lange unten an der Treppe liegen. Mühsam rappelt er sich wieder hoch, wankt in die Schankstube und stöhnt. So viel also zum Rotwein. Wie wär's mit dem Weißen? Ich kann das Emote gar nicht erkennen. Jetzt sehe ich's. Es gibt total viele Richterwitze in dem Buch. Immer wenn ich eine Seite aufschlage, ist ein Richterwitz da. Wisst ihr, wie ein Lehrling beim Zollamt heißt? Ein Filzstift. Oh, mit den Einfachen, da kriegt man mich. Beim Zahnarzt ermahnt die Mutter ihren Sprössling. Nun, sei ein lieber Junge und sag schön A, damit der gute Doktor wieder seinen Finger aus deinem Mund herausnehmen kann. Ja gut. Oh, kennt ihr noch die Witze mit Hattu Möhrchen? Die Hasenwitze? Ich erinnere mich nur ganz dunkel, dass ich die immer total bescheuert fand. Die waren auch sehr schlimm. Ich sage das nur gerade, weil ich hier einen gefunden habe. Ich sage nur Häschen in der Apotheke. Hast du Knollenblätterpilz? Natürlich verneint der Apotheker, aber Häschen lässt sich nicht abwimmeln. Im Gegenteil. Jeden Tag erscheint es mit der gleichen Frage. Hast du wirklich keinen Knollenblätterpilzen? Nach 14 Tagen eröffnet ihm der Apotheker, dass er extra welche für Häschen besorgt hätte. Ruft Häschen erschrocken. Musst du schnell wegwerfen, sind sehr giftig. Mein Cousin hat die irgendwann an Weihnachten mal erzählt und war ganz stolz auf seine Hasennachahmung. Ach, Herr Jemine. Im Examen stellt der Professor die Frage: Wie viele Inseln gibt es im Ägäischen Meer und wie heißen sie? Die Antwort eines Studenten: Es gibt viele Inseln im Ägäischen Meer und ich heiße Jensen. Das halte ich nicht für einen Witz, das halte ich für einen Tatsachenbericht, ehrlich gesagt. Von denen gab es viele, besonders im Fritzchen. Ja, die Fritzchenwitze. Oh Gottes Willen, da gibt es ja auch so viele nicht jugendfreie Fritzchenwitze. Die fanden wir auch immer ganz toll, vor allem in der Grundschule, wo man noch alle haha hihi. Sie hat Piep gesagt. Entschuldigung. Ich habe keine. Okay, dann lese ich euch vor. Unterricht im Steinzeitalter. Der bärtige Lehrer diktiert und seine Schüler meißeln wie besessen auf ihren Steinplatten. Da blickt einer der Kleinen hoch und fragt: Potenz? Schreibt sich das mit einem oder zwei Hoden? Tut mir leid, ich finde den sehr lustig. Ich bin sehr, sehr simpel. Neugierig erkundigt sich ein Besucher des Kurorts beim Bürgermeister. Ist das Klima hier wirklich so gesund, wie allgemein behauptet wird? Natürlich, erwidert der Bürgermeister. Vor einigen Tagen waren wir sogar gezwungen, unseren ältesten Einwohner zu vergiften, damit wir den Friedhof einweihen konnten. Na, wo ist die Musik hin? Was soll das? So. Wie soll ich denn so einschlafen? Tja, Hunter Hamburg, das weiß ich jetzt auch nicht. Wenn es an Witz mangelt, macht man das mit vulgärer Attitüde wieder weg. Ne? Yep, so ist es. So muss das auch in der Regel sein. Ist dir die Arbeit eigentlich schwer? Wird ein Beamter gefragt. Nein, nicht unbedingt, gesteht der ehrlich. Aber sie ist doch ein erheblicher Störfaktor zwischen Kur, Nachbehandlung, Urlaub, Feiertagen, Wochenenden und Betriebsausflügen. Pretty accurate, würde ich sagen. Der Richter kam besser weg. Im Sprechzimmer kramt Müller nervös in seinen Taschen. Sie brauchen mich nicht im Voraus zu bezahlen, sagt der Zahnarzt. Das will ich auch nicht, entgegnet Müller. Ich zähle nur mein Geld, bevor Sie mich betäuben. Pretty legit, würde ich sagen. Man weiß ja nie. Frau Schulte sagt im Treppenhaus zu Frau Müller: Ihr Hund macht mir Spaß. Zu Fremden ist er freundlich und zu Hause winselt er den ganzen Tag. Ja, das hat er von meinem Mann. Oh, den kann ich nicht vorlesen. Der ist, glaube ich, nicht Twitch-safe. Aber dass der in dem Buch ist, den versteht doch kein Kind. Der versteht doch kein Kind. Du kannst nicht und du willst nicht. Ich weiß nicht, enthält das N-Wort. Und ich weiß nicht, wie ich das politisch korrekt umschreibe. Obwohl. Schaumkuss. Okay. Was ist der Unterschied zwischen einer Möwe und einem Afrikaner? Die Möwe hat einen weißen Schwanz und der Afrikaner kann nicht fliegen. Ach, es sind die simplen Freuden im Leben. Ja nun. Kennen Sie den Unterschied zwischen einer Wolljacke, einem Hasen und einem 18-jährigen Mädchen? Die Wolljacke wird gestrickt, der Hase wird gespickt und das 18-jährige Mädchen wird 19. Oh. Mit solchen Witzen bin ich total einfach zu unterhalten. Komm schon, die Witze hast du doch heimlich selbst erfasst. Ich bin leider nicht so gut im Witze schreiben. Aber ich wünschte mir eine ganze Doppelseite mit den Witzen, ehrlich gesagt. Hans tanzt sehr eng mit Gitte. Plötzlich bleibt Gitte stehen, nimmt die linke Brust aus dem Ausschnitt und fragt: Na Hans, ist die platt? Nein, meint Hans verdutzt. Warum? Gitte nimmt die rechte Brust heraus und fragt: Ist die platt? Hans wird rot und schüttelt den Kopf. So, meint Gitte erbost, dann kannst du ja deinen Wagenheber wieder einfahren. Ich glaube, ich bin im richtigen Kapitel dieses Buches angelangt. Richtig, weil du das hättest sein können, oder wie muss ich das verstehen? Okay, die meisten haben nach erster näherer Sichtung einen weißen mit schwarzer Spitze. Nee, ich bin leider nicht so schlagfertig spontan. Aber ich finde das lustig mit dem Wagenheber, Entschuldigung. Ich bin innerlich 12. Elschen schiebt ihr Neugeborenes im Kinderwagen durch den Supermarkt.
An der Kasse tritt ein älterer Mann an den Wagen, blickt hinein und fährt entsetzt zurück. Der Kleine hat tiefschwarzes, krauses Haar, hohe Wangenknochen, einen gelben Teint, mandelförmige Augen und eine platte Nase. »Da staunen Sie was«, sagte Elschen zu dem erschütterten Alten. »Wie haben Sie denn dieses Produkt zustande gebracht?« fragt der Mann mit zitternder Stimme. Antwortet Elschen. »Das ist das Ergebnis einer internationalen Orgie und dabei kann ich noch froh sein, dass er nicht bellt.« Life Goals.
Ich bin überrascht, dass Plüschkeks beim Lesen davon nicht mehr gelacht hat. Ich habe innerlich gelacht, aber ich muss doch jetzt professionell sein. Uff. Ich auch ein bisschen. Entschuldigen Sie bitte? Fragt die Lehrerin. Nun, Margot, kannst du mir sagen, zu welcher Familie der Walfisch gehört? Schüttelt Margot den Kopf und sagt, nein, ich kenne keine Familie, die einen Walfisch hat. Irgendwie geht Plüschi beim Witzelesen zuhören und Italienisch lernen nicht so gut gleichzeitig. Sisi io no parlare italiano. Wow, mein Italienisch ist schon so lange her. Ich kann leider keine italienischen Witze vorlesen. Vielleicht hast du ja italienische Witze. Weiß ja nicht. Das könnte schwierig sein. So. 2 Witze noch. Und dann geht's ab ins Bett. Unser Kind wird Freitag getauft. Merkwürdiger Name. Welch ein Wunderwerk. Welch ein Wunderwerk der Witzekunst. Zwei Witze, Tricky Towers installieren und dann ins Bett meinst du, oder? Nein, das kommt dann danach. Gegen ihre Fettsucht hilft nur Gymnastik, Herr Müller, sagt der Kurarzt. Kniebeugen und so? Fragt Müller. Nein, Kopfschütteln, und zwar immer dann, wenn Ihnen etwas zum Essen angeboten wird. Und mit diesem Kracher entlasse ich euch in die Nacht. Ich werde das Witzebuch neben mir liegen lassen für nächste Woche. Danke, dass ihr da wart. Danke, dass ihr zugehört habt. Ob in der ersten, zweiten oder in beiden Hälften. Ich wünsche euch eine wunderschöne Nacht und ein tolles Restwochenende. Und denkt dran, nächste Woche reden wir über Buchempfehlungen in Deutsch und in Englisch. Größtenteils Fantasy für die Weihnachtswunschliste. Ist dir aufgefallen, wie die schlechten Witze mit fortschreitender Anzahl immer weniger schlecht schienen? Das ist der Gewohnheitsfaktor, Bene, glaube ich. Thank you for being with us today. I wish you a good night, a nice weekend. take care. Passt auf euch auf. Und ich gehe jetzt Tricky Towers installieren. Also dann, gute Nacht.